Hello and welcome, my friends. Haven't been here for ages, and today I am going to present a newly, freshly made and listed journal. The journal it's called Abundance and Gratitude. And this is a journal with long story, with a very, for me, it's a very important story, like a kind of revelation or something. And I promised to tell about it, to tell the story of this book. That's why I will have to switch to the direct flip through of the techniques and so on later. I will write the time code here. You will see it when you can start. You can flip or you can scroll and start watching from the time which is written here. Because now I'm going to talk about the story, and it can take quite a long time because the story was amazing and rather long. So I would say that this is the second project in my life, actually, which has had such a big influence and impact on me. Or no, vice versa. It's like it is the result of big something happening in the world around me, with me as well. And the point is that actually this is one of the times when I literally felt to be a tool rather than a creator. I quite often felt that it's not me, or it's me, but actually I don't think up the ideas. I don't create the ideas. They come themselves. The whole concept of this journal was inspired, and I just was really the tool. With my hands were tools, my eyes were tools that helped to give it life. So let me tell the story. First of all, Tonya, you must know the beginning. Yesterday I listed it on Etsy, and Tonya bought it. And only later, a couple of hours later, it suddenly dawned on me. I recalled the connection between these things, because in fact, it was so obvious that I couldn't just make it out again, because it's not me. I'm not thinking about this journal. Everything comes itself. I realized that actually this book, from the very beginning, was inspired by Tonya's works, by Tonya's books, by the spirit of these books. In fact, I just don't know. And you will see that. Tonya, there is even a tribute to your marvelous brooches. This idea comes from you. I've taken some metallic brooch and adding it to the journal. And I did it before you even saw it. So it was made for you, as far as I understand. Now, maybe when you hear my story, you will find something else connecting it to. But when I decided that I was inspired by this idea, kind of atmosphere that Tonya's books create. So I decided. I just felt something like very vintage, but at the same time very botanical, because I'm keen on nature. This is kind of craze for me now, and so I thought about that. I got the image and I forgot about that, just until the moment I realized that Tonya was the one who bought it finally. Then came, and I even have made a plan of the story, because it's so big, it's so symbolic, full of metaphors, as now I can see it, and I analyze and interpret everything that happened, and I can see these interconnections between things, and I just couldn't believe, because they were not intended. So as for the idea, yeah, you got it. It came to me something like more than a month ago, but I was busy with some minor projects. More than that, probably some of you know that in my country we are facing like second wave, not of COVID, of a much more horrible brown color disease, which is actually very similar to fascism or something, but it is okay. It's all about politics here, and the country is actually in despair, in in frustration, and huge frustration, and it's been lasting for 4 months so far. So you probably heard from me or read that I just can't let myself do anything really like, complicated, like multi-layer layouts as usual or something like that. I felt guilty for doing that. Actually, everything is not about, creativity at all, and about this flow. And I even started to feel that I lost the connection. This amazing connection with nature, when you see something beautiful and you immediately get struck, get like switched or plugged in to the source of this amazing aesthetic energy. I felt that, I realized that, and was really sad, but actually I've been so busy with blaming myself and with suffering for everything that's happening around that I didn't even see that as an issue. So the situation was rather tough, and it's still rather tough, but then gradually I started to work on that. I got the idea from somewhere that if I can't help physically, I should help like mentally, spiritually, like help people recover, switch them from something negative, bring some more positive stuff into the world, which is really dark here. But the nature. And once I came to the forest, it was a pine forest, and as you remember, I told you in one of my videos, I was watching the trees, and I was suddenly struck by the idea that we will die, our tyrants will also die, but these trees and this stuff will stay forever. They are the real owners of this planet, and it calmed me down. It reminded me of the fact that it's fleeting. Everything that's happening here, suffering and stuff, it's really temporary. Actually, this was the thought that helped me to put up with COVID's story. And I suddenly realized that everybody will die, in fact. But this beauty will last forever, at least for many years to come. And I felt this vanity, and maybe that was the moment of kind of slow, gradual coming back. And coming back to this journal, therefore I started hiking and traveling around the country again, with more focus on that and with more enjoyment. And so the second plan is after I lost this connection, I started to restore it a little bit, and then the idea of this journal came a month ago. And after this idea got to my mind, we unexpectedly got into an amazing place. It's a deep river. Oh, maybe not very deep, but this is a river deep between the two banks, which form like something like a canyon. It means that this is a very isolated place, very cozy place, and the river is rather fast. You can hear the sounds, but it's an absolutely secluded, deserted area because it's not far from big industrial plants here. It's so-called alienation zone. So people don't go there. They don't live there. You can go there. It's rather safe, ecologically safe, as long as there is no explosion. But people don't live there, don't go there too often. And the place turned out to be absolutely untouched. No trees cut, nothing like that. Even no rubbish, almost no rubbish. So that was the first case when I first got to this river, when I felt unexpectedly this connection, this strong feeling of presence, of transcendence. I don't know, call it whatever. I just don't know how to describe this. You probably know it. When you feel you're at home, when you feel you are safe, being deep in the wilderness, next to the river. You know, I'm an aquaphobic almost, like I'm afraid I can't swim. And I felt at home, I felt relaxed, and there came the idea of the concept of the journal then, because it was late autumn, everything was brown around, a lot of dry grass, a lot of dry twigs, a lot of, these brownish colors, but they were so soothing, so pacifying, and I saw how many different types of grass you can see. These seed heads, all of them were so nice, so beautiful. And I've been picking this stuff like dried grass and things for many years so far, but that was the moment when I realized the deeper sense of that. So after this first journey, we came back, we came home, and actually that was the day probably when I started to work on the cover. Then the next week after that, we went to the same place, but in another direction, the same river, but further on. And that was another case when I felt some presence. I felt at home. I felt kind of, now I realize what that was. That was total amazement and gratitude. Gratitude, for everything. And that was the abundance itself. We were and this second story is really supernatural, I would say. So we came to some place. It's a very deserted forest, not very deep, but something like that. And I didn't see any single cut tree or felled tree. There were a lot of dead trees, but all of these trees died because of their age. And this one comes from this twig comes from an old tree which was literally lying on the ground, and I didn't even have to break the tree or the branches or something. So I saw the real forest without people, without anyone doing any harm to this forest. And it was the place was amazing. It was beautiful, yes, there's many places there, but there was some feeling of fullness. Now I understand it was abundance. The idea of abundance came there. I realized, looking around and seeing just, naked trees, these broken trees, beaver helped them to fall, many of them. There were beavers there, and I saw this, fallen foliage. I saw the foliage. It was already brown. No bright colors at all. And even the sky was gray. It was rather cold. And I felt like this is absolutely enough. Enough to live, to be happy, to bring happiness to the world, to give people everything they need. And that was the abundance. And I felt so grateful. I felt grateful that in the midst of this turmoil, I can have this opportunity to be here and to feel it. I just don't want to be pathetic. I hope you don't consider this all pathetic. I'm sharing something magic because it's really magic for me. I have goosebumps now when I'm talking about that. But that's not the end of the story. So we left this forest. I picked a lot of stuff. This comes from here. It's very light. It doesn't weigh at all anything because it's dry, completely dry. It has been lying there for many years. Okay, that's not the point. So we left the forest. And as soon as we left the forest and went out into the field, my husband said, "You know what? I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want to frighten you, but there was some kind of an old Jewish settlement left over from the Second World War. The fascists pushed them to this reservation or something like a ghetto. There was a settlement. They lived there, and there was a cemetery not far from here. I didn't want to frighten you, and that's all." I felt no fear at all. Like, why? Why should I be frightened? It's just a place where people lived, where they died. It's all very natural. And it's absolutely peaceful. It felt at home. It felt like cozy and a good place to live. Okay. So, I thought that probably it might mean something. I just don't know what, but maybe there is something about that. And this is a twig from that place, you know. So if you care for this, you probably will find something deeper. So then let me see. So these are the two places, the three actually places. One of them I have just mentioned, that actually turned out this. I realized what this meaning of spot of time or like place in time, what these words mean. This concept comes from William Wordsworth. If you know, this is an English poet of Romanticism. And this was his term. I used it many times and I never felt it, in fact. Now I know what he meant. It's the place of transcendence or something. That was it. Yeah. So this one is the baby of this experience. It was born because of it. It was born after it, inside it. I literally feel how it gives out all the vibes of these places, of these amazing sacred places. I don't know what was there before. I don't know, something amazing. It's full of abundance and gratitude because I still feel a strong feeling of gratefulness for everything that for this amazing experience, for this amazing art that helps me outlive the horrors and the turmoils and share something good in the situation when I literally cannot do anything else. So it's long. So I now when I just collected all this stuff together, all the pieces of experience. Now I can see all the metaphors that are lying here, and you can find them there. First of all these immortal plants, dried plants that are, first of all, you can see them on the cover, you can see them in images, and you can see them real ones, because I included some stamps here. And these seed heads, they are full of seeds. There are a lot of things like these or these. They are all full of seeds. Isn't it about abundance? So it means that they are all full of life. You can seed the seeds and get the plants. And it will start living again and forever. Although they are very brown, they are almost dying, but they are immortal. Then it goes with the river, where the whole feeling, the whole atmosphere of this river and of this feeling of seclusion, it's here, it's pouring inside. It's getting out. I see this journal and I feel immediately at this place, like it's fantastic. It's amazing. And isn't it all about the abundance, the natural abundance of life, just natural abundance of energy, of something beautiful, of something amazing, divine that you can see in everything? I'm sharing that at length because this is actually the first time, maybe not the first, but this is one of the strongest things that happened. And the last drop was the name. No, actually, the last drop was the purchase by Tonya, because then I understood everything is like the full circle is made for this journal from Tonya to Tonya. And don't tell me it's coincidence. No, I don't believe in coincidences. And so the name. I was thinking about calling it something like sleeping nature or something connected with autumn and with grasses. But then just I was lying at night in thinking about it actually, and was trying to recall the gratitude things, the things I can be grateful for, and I recalled this as well. And I started to think and analyze, and unexpectedly the first name abundance came, because it's abundant with everything, and you can see how abundant it is. And the second name came itself, and gratitude, because this whole thing is about gratitude, as I have told already. And so the name came itself. I didn't make it up at all. Only then I realized that that was Thanksgiving Day. I'm sorry to say, but we don't celebrate Thanksgiving. We don't even have this kind of tradition here, at least not on this day. So it was like, okay, I'm a tool. Yeah, in this case, exactly. The rest of the story, like, there are a lot of other things and deep ideas that came when I started to realize what was happening and how it appeared, and how things that I didn't plan came to life and turned out something else, something strange. That's enough. I have been talking for too long already. And I hope that it's not too it wasn't too boring or something or weird. And now let's turn to the flip through.